Before we even start this video, like, comment, subscribe, and share if you think someone else would like this. Thanks for watching in advance, and let's get into the video. Today we're going to be talking about one of the best modern fantasies, period. I'd honestly say it's the best modern urban fantasy currently out, The Ancient Magus Bride. Yes, I'm being serious, and I will explain why in this video. First volume of The Ancient Magus Bride by Kore Yamazaki, or as I'll be calling her from now on in this video, Yamazaki-sensei, since I am a mangaka, well, aspiring mangaka, and I hope to be doing YouTube full-time too, so it's gonna be an odd one. I want to get monthly, but that's beside the point. This is the first volume of what I consider to be the greatest modern fantasy in all of the world. While many people may say that something like the Dresden Files would be that, I'd say yes. I'd say it's pretty much tied with it, except I like the characters and the feel of the world in The Ancient Magus Bride a bit more. Mainly because, for some reason, like, the magic in The Ancient Magus Bride feels a lot more magical, if that makes any sense. Like, whenever you read Harry Potter for the first time or watch the movies for the first time, and you get that, like, sense of, wow, this is something. You get that same sense, but every time that they introduce a new aspect of the world, or anytime there's just, like, magic shown, illustrated, or, in the case of the anime, animated. Whereas for the Dresden Files, really good magic system, really good world, very, very fleshed out, but it kind of feels like sometimes the world is just, because it's based on the same stuff that the Ancient Magus Bride is, occult philosophy, and stuff like that, so paganism, all that. But this, it kind of leaves the world as a, like, it tells you everything about the world that you need to know, and it doesn't really feel like the world's what you're trying to get to know. You're trying to get to know the characters and the mysteries and all that, because this is pretty much a neo-noir, I think is what it's called. Neo-noir mixed with like supernatural wizard guy in the modern world. Whereas The Ancient Magus Bride is about a girl who sold herself into slavery after she from a young age was able to see spirits. Same thing with both of her parents. She's a slave beggy, so she attracts them, and she pretty much causes a bunch of bad stuff to happen with her family. Her dad leaves with her little brother, leaving her all alone with her mom, who is very frail and has to pick up a ton of jobs. Trauma ensues, and bad things happen to the point where she has nowhere to live and feels like such a burden that she sells herself into slavery so she can at least have a home. And that's where this guy comes in, Elias Ainsworth. He buys her, which I know sounds very wrong, but the reason it's called The Ancient Magus Bride is because he intends to train her as a magician or a magus. Many words to mean the same thing. And he doesn't have a full understanding of emotions, let's say that first, so he doesn't know quite what he's talking about when he says a bride. So there's a lot of really awkward scenes in it where he's like, I intend to make you my bride. Did I forget to say that? He's trying to understand what emotions are, because he feels them, he just doesn't understand them at all. So she's kind of his core and draw to the human world. So she teaches him what it is to be human and understand emotions, and he teaches her magic. My favorite thing about the manga and the anime is that it doesn't tell you everything right away. It doesn't say, well, this world has a ton of magical thing. Well, it doesn't tell you this world has dragons or big things. No, it just has that in the background art. That's what I love about comics compared to novels. They have the visual aspect to help the world building. But this so it's based in pagan it's based in occult philosophy and paganism from the British Isles. So you have Celtic mythology and Irish mythology. You could say they're the same thing, but there's two different sides to a coin there. But really, really good stuff with the world building, especially when you get to the latter half of season 1 of the anime. And let me show you the art real quick, because this is one of Yamazaki Sensei is one of my favorite artists. Here's the cover page as just a color page. And hold on, where's one of the best examples of art I can give you? But when I say it's that's so good. So this is a chapter cover from one of her chapters. So good. Look at that. But so you have Fae and all that type of stuff in this, and it focuses more on that. You don't get many shows like that where the Fae aren't just little sylphs or sprites. No, they go into like the full detail of the fairies and stuff. Like you have in season 2, I'm not going to spoil. Hold on, let me come up with a good one. You have a Spriggan in season 1, rather early on, so I'm not spoiling anything. You have the Ariels, which are like little winged fairies that are like what you typically think of. And you have Selkies and a Banshee in season 1, like in the earliest parts. So I love Irish mythology and Celtic mythology. All of that's some of my favorite stuff to read about. But the way that they use it to amplify the character work and the emotions of the characters. So say there's a character that's going through some really, really rough stuff. There will be a guy named Ash and I, who's, I believe, a original character. He's not said to be from any... I haven't figured out if he's from any mythology. I've looked it up. It's not really easy to see or find out. But he's supposedly like I think he's supposed to be like an ancient god or just some sort of... like a forgotten one. But, so a character who has been going through a lot of stuff ends up losing her little brother after an argument she had in the woods. And instead of helping her find the little brother, he takes her and he makes her entire family forget about... He takes the little brother and he makes the entire family forget about her. So she can either find him, or she'll end up forgetting about him. Or the main character comes in and helps her out and all that, while also letting the little girl learn her lesson in a very, very good way that maybe one day you say something you end up regretting. That person that you said it to might die the next minute, for all you know. There's very, very hard consequences to every little action you do, whether you think that are good or not. Like, it teaches you to appreciate what you have and to not take it for granted. It's also a story about finding home, as I said in the beginning. All the emotions that you can feel from a really good story are all there to a perfect degree. If you have not watched or read this series, I would say if you're not big on reading, don't read the manga. But if you want the best version of it, the manga. The manga is some of the best fiction I've ever read. It's not too terribly long. It's around, hold on. I believe it's around 130 pages in all. But since it's mostly pictures, you pick up the information way faster than you would with a novel. So, for me, reading a volume this thick is like 15 minutes. If I'm really looking in the backgrounds for details, it'll take around 30. Depending on your reading speed, don't be ashamed of it. If it's a bit slower, we all start somewhere. So would I recommend the manga or anime to people, one more than the other? Yeah, I'd recommend the manga more than the anime, mainly because it goes a bit further, but the anime you cannot go wrong with. Season 2 just finished up its English dub, which is really, really good. The English dub is fantastic. Since it takes place in Britain, I'd recommend the English dub for it. But the Japanese with subtitles is the emotional connection you can feel with these characters, and like when something bad happens and their reactions are like so guttural and feel so real. You cannot go wrong with the English dub or sub. But I personally recommend the dub for people because it takes place in Britain. Same thing with Baccano. It takes place in 1920s New York, or around 1920s America during the Prohibition era. If you haven't heard of Baccano, that one is so good too. Watch that one dubbed, definitely. But since I am talking about this, I'll be announcing the next video and the next long video like this that I'm going to be doing. The next long video I'm going to be doing is going to be a video essay kind of like this. I don't script things because I'm horrible at writing scripts. But I'll be doing a video about Blue Exorcist, one of my favorite, well, currently my favorite manga. So I will, it's not my favorite fantasy, but it's my favorite manga currently because it's gotten me through some rough stuff. You'll hear about that in my next video. Well, my next long video. As for shorts, I'm going to try and get a short out every day. And then as for my next normal sized upload, maybe a skit about maybe a skit of me interacting with something I draw in the background, like overlaying an animation with me. I've been trying to get more experimental with stuff. Y'all let me know, because I really am trying to make something good for y'all that y'all want. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.